Hello everybody, Joe from NDB Aviation, and today we're going to go over the Flight Sim Peripheral Guide of 2025. Now this portion of the video here where you see my face is going to be relatively short because we're going to transfer right over to the screen back there and talk about these devices. But a few notes before we get started. First off, this is going to be a video where we have just a few recommendations for a quick start for anybody that's just getting started in aviation or flight simulation. These are sub $150 recommendations. And after those recommendations, we go directly into the catalog dive from all of these manufacturers. I'm not going to say their names because I'm going to forget to say one of them, and then someone's going to think that I didn't cover them. So here's the list. Look at the timestamps below if you want to skip around. This video is a little bit long, but it's meant to give you an idea of what all these companies bring to the table with not a whole lot of talking except when it's needed. I try to really cut down on my excessive amount of talking because you don't need that. You just need to see the products out there and have a basic overview of what to expect from them, if at least things to watch out for. After the recommended devices, like I said, we're going to go straight into the catalog dives. Timestamps below so that way you can jump around. From there though, the catalog dive is really meant for people that are trying to piece together a multi-piece setup. So maybe you're trying to buy a couple pieces from Honeycomb, a couple other pieces from Turtle Beach, whatever you're doing to mix and match or keep it from one overall manufacturer. This is going to help you see everything that's out there and then make your decisions. All these things are all USB devices, so you can utilize them in any combination that you want, so long as it's on a PC or Mac, or even some of these on Linux. Just keep in mind, if you require software to run the device or run certain profiles on the device, you are bound to whatever operating system that software was designed for. Now, all the links below, if I even put links below, I'm not affiliated with any store or any manufacturer. So that means I don't get anything back from it. I'm doing this because I want to save you all money, whether or not you're just starting off or you're giving somebody a gift or your flight school, flight club, anything. I want to make sure that you're saving time and money. That's why I'm trying to get through this point and not talk as much as sometimes I used to. And finally, please, 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 please buy from a reputable source. Some of these devices are sold on Amazon, Best Buy, other places online that you can actually buy and then return to, and will have less of an issue trying to get these things warranted if the problem occurs. Or if you give this as a gift and somebody goes, no, I really don't like this one, I want that one instead, you can at least exchange it a little bit easier than if you bought something on eBay used or some other sales place that does not have a reputable return policy. So please be careful where you buy your products from. Now, with that all out of the way, we're going to jump into the screen grab now, and then a lot of talking. So get a comfortable chair, get yourself some tea, coffee, an adult beverage, or some water, whatever you prefer, and feel free to skip around the video to see exactly what it is that you are looking for. At the end of the video, it's done. You won't see this ugly mug again. So thanks for watching. Leave any questions or comments in the comment section below. I'm seeing the comments more now. For some reason, I didn't get notifications when there were comments, so I'm back on top of that. Thanks again. Stay safe, stay healthy out there, and this was shot on the Friday after Thanksgiving of 2025, so all prices reflect that time period. See ya in the screen grab. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are now into the catalog dive and the recommended products. Remember, we're going to start off with the recommended products that are sub $150, and these are meant to be one and done solutions. So the first one and done solution for anybody getting started in aviation or flight simulation, the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro joystick. It gives you every axis you need: pitch, roll, and yaw. The yaw is built on as a twist function. You have a throttle and plenty of buttons to work with to get you or anybody started in aviation simulation at $35. This is a great buy. The next one that I would recommend would be the Thrustmaster T.Flight HOTAS X. Very basic, but however, it has all your axes that you need: pitch, trim, yaw, and a separate throttle here to make things separated and a little bit easier to utilize. However, do keep in mind, if you do separate these, they can fall over a little bit easier since you don't have a full-on squared off base like the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro does, and not a bad deal at $60. Then if you just want one and done like the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro, this also sits relatively well on a desk and puts up with some pretty good abuse.
And at $60, another great recommendation. And these pretty much end the sub $70 recommendation range. After that, the Winwing Ursa Minor airline or combat joystick. If I scroll down here, you can see the range. They have Space Horn, they have the airline, then they have the combat. They all vary in price by a little bit. They're out of stock on Amazon, but again, they have your pitch, roll, and yaw. You have your thrust right here and plenty of buttons to work with. This little piece comes off here to reveal a little hat switch that you can move left and right, up, down for views and everything else. A great product from what I've read. I have not had a chance to review this personally, but overall a solid platform to work with. Just look at the pricing when you go to order it, depending on if they have it for sale in the US, and you don't have to pay for shipping from overseas or wherever you might live in the world. So this could range anywhere from $78.18 to much more, depending on shipping and tariffs and import costs. Moving on, this I have reviewed. I have a video on it. You do have to put this unit together, but at $120, this is probably one of the best bang for the buck products you can get out there right now. And it gives you modularity that you can change this product from the base up. So if you start with the base, there is a slightly cheaper base you can buy to save about another $10. However, this gives you a lot of functionality, a lot of ability to program and customize this however you want. Throttle is right down here. This little roller is Windows sees it as a switch. So roll it up, it clicks one, roll it down, clicks one. So great for trim. Flaps, I really like for this, or spoilers or something else that's a click switch up and down. This one springs back to center. So everything else, so solid platform. Again, you do have to put it together. Twist for yaw, roll and pitch as well are all easily set up on this. And $120, this is another great recommendation for somebody just getting started. Now, that's the end of my recommendations for the Flight Sim Peripheral Buying Guide setup recommendations for 2025. Reason being, I just wanted to give recommendations for the basics to start you off. All these other things are going to come down the line from most expensive to cheapest and give you an idea of what you're out there looking for to piece together a full setup. So for Honeycomb, I have in my inventory right now for my Flight Sim setups, the Alpha, the Bravo, the Alpha XPC, and the Charlie. All solid performers. If you're looking to build something around these, yes, it's going to add up, but you have so much capability with these. I enjoy these, I enjoy using them, and they have survived abuse. They have survived a lot of abuse from my minions as well. Now, the products I have not had a chance to review personally, and you can see there's a definite price delta difference here from these products. So I don't know what the overall build quality is. I don't know what the differences are for the interior components that make up these products. But Honeycomb is here. They are sticking around and they're making new products to bring to market, and they're standing behind these products. So you have the Sierra TPM, you have the Bravo Light, the Alpha Light, and the Foxtrot Aviation Stick. All of these look pretty interesting. I'm intrigued to see some of the reviews online and see how these overall products age. But the nice thing is about this, it's really nice to have another throttle, prop, and mixture control unit out there. And it's nice to have a more basic Bravo throttle quadrant. I'd be interested to review the Alpha Light and also the Foxtrot stick. But these are other options that you can build a sim setup around, especially if you're building, like, say, a Cirrus setup. You have a aviation stick that's right around $150. You have the TPM module and the Charlie rudder pedals. You save some money here, and you're still building what looks to be a very high quality sim setup. And if you want some accessories to accessorize, you have your Honeycomb Xbox hub to make the XPC, Bravo, and Charlie's work with the Microsoft Xbox and Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. You have an Airbus edition for the Bravo throttle quadrant. I do have this in my inventory. I've not had a chance to review it yet. You have a GA General Aviation trim wheel cover. You have a flap kit and some other things here. You also have spare parts you can purchase as well to replace things that either you lose or break. So far though, none of my Honeycomb products have had any issues. And that's through some pretty rigorous testing. So that's it for Honeycomb. Moving on to Logitech. Logitech. I would steer clear. I'm just going to say the ones I'd steer clear from first, and then I'll tell you the ones to consider. Stay away from the X56 unless it's on sale for $150. It should not be even $200. This product does not even compare to some other products out there on the market from cheaper products. So sorry about that. X52, professional and regular, just don't buy. I'm not going to say they belong in a garbage can, but I might recommend it. And then the flight yoke system, this has been around for a long time. It's a solid performer, but there are better options out there. But at the same price point, it's tough to say. And I wish it was maybe $125 or $100, and I'd say it's a definite buy. At $150, it depends on what your overall wallet will allow. Now, things to consider. I've already said it. This is your best bang for the buck joystick out there, period. At $35, some places even cheaper, from maybe even Sporties or My Pilot Store or Amazon. This is put up with just tons of abuse from me and my family. I've even traveled with it, lent it out to people and gotten it back. And the null zones, the centering, everything is still the same. So at $35, you cannot go wrong with the Extreme 3D Pro joystick. The flight throttle quadrant, if you're trying to put together a few pieces here, these are great options. And if you can find the flight rudder pedals on sale for even better than $130, say like $100, you're putting together yourself a nice sub $200 or just right around $200 full-on sim setup. So if you're flying, say, a Cirrus, or you're flying really honestly anything, you can put together a decent, I'm not saying great, I'm saying average-ish, decent-ish sim setup for a reasonable price point. Would I save my money and buy something of higher quality and steer clear of Logitech except for the purpose of saving money and just getting started? Yeah, usually, but if you're just getting started and you're saving money, this is a great trifecta here. Now, the switch panel, the radio panel, and the multi-panel. Not bad products. They haven't changed for a long time. Can you do these things on a separate screen if you have maybe an iPad or a separate computer screen to then mirror stuff over to? Yeah, and you can probably save some money. But if you want these products, they work okay. I have not tried these products out for a very, very long time, especially the FIP panels, the flight instrument panels. So I don't know how well they actually integrate into the flight sims anymore. They're okay products, but there are better options out there on the market. And that's all I'm going to say about Logitech. Moving on, Meridian. Meridian does not have products to market as of right now. Hopefully in 2026, we'll hear about more from these products and what they're going to truly look like when they're in their final run. And full disclosure, I know this is not to market. There are other products that I wanted to include in this that are on Kickstarter. However, I had some problems opening up the Kickstarter page. Every time I opened up the Kickstarter page from some of these other companies that are out there, I had errors. The pages were no longer there. Meridian's the only one that has an actual website for their products. The X-Ray Flight Sim Controller, the Sierra Plus Flight Controls, and the Tango Plus Throttle Quadrant. I don't know if these are their final run look, so we'll be intrigued to see what these products end up looking like when they are actually in production. But if you're not in a hurry to build a more high-end sim setup, the Sierra and the Tango might be something to wait for and see what they end up being like, especially if you're not in a hurry. But if you're somebody that's going to be a controller-based simmer, the X-Ray may be something that you wait for in the future. And that's all I have to say about Meridian. We'll know more next year. Moza. Moza Racing was brought to my attention about 1.5 years ago. I was told I need to get my hands on these products. I've been working on that. I need to contact and try to build more of a dialogue with Moza and see what we can work out, or just buy the products. I'll tell you right now though, my wife did not like the idea of me buying all these products right now, so that's just gonna have to wait. So their catalog, from highest price to lowest price, you have the yoke base, which starts off at $700. Here is the yoke at $150, so $750 to have a yoke setup. Their joystick base was $550, on sale for $500. And then you have their 16 flight stick, you have their side stick, you have their other stick. And these are not horribly priced overall. So if you're trying to build something that's a little bit more expensive and higher quality, Moza has you covered. They have the Z-axis module for the twist function, I would assume, for the yaw. You have a little switch panel here. You have a different throttle quadrant that you can purchase as well, and a more expensive throttle quadrant. I've heard very good things about Moza. I look forward to hopefully having an opportunity to review these products in the future. And this is their product line with their clamps, setups. You have a Boeing module and then I just did that backwards. Boeing module and then the Airbus module. And that's their catalog. So if you're looking for something that has a lot of functionality coming to it and looks like to have a really good background support system, you may want to look into Moza. Like everything I would say out there, do some research, make sure it's something that you want to build up a product range around, but this is what they look like all together. And that's it for Moza. After that, we have Thrustmaster. Thrustmaster has some new products to market, but again, starting from highest price to lowest price. You have their most expensive products here right on the top of the page, followed by the Warthog dual throttle. These are decent enough products. Do I think they warrant the higher price tags? Sometimes. I've had a couple of, actually I've had more than a couple. I've had several Thrustmaster products in the past. I've had cheap ones, I've had really expensive ones, and I will say I have not had the latest generation of the expensive products, nor have I utilized them in any way or been able to review them. But I've heard different good things online. However, I've heard also of people doing what I did years ago with my original higher end Thrustmaster products, replacing parts, replacing them with better parts. And from there, you kind of catch my drift. So good products. However, there are some little things here and there that people are replacing. I have not had a chance to get my hands on the Sol R2 or the R4s. However, I would really be intrigued to see if there's any major differences with the overall construction compared to previous Thrustmaster products. If you want a Boeing setup that is compatible with Xbox for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 or 2024, they have a pack here that is ready for you to utilize. And then from there, you can just buy the yoke by itself. You get the Viper piece by itself, the Warthog flight stick by itself, or you can buy the base and then build up pieces on top. If you want Airbus specific, PC or Xbox, you got the Airbus pack, or you can break these pieces into separates and then build it up yourself. Here you have the T16000 FCS flight pack. This is not a bad purchase overall if you're looking for a sub $250 set to give you everything you need. This is something, while it's not my favorite product out there, it can get you started and going down the line of what you need to actually fly and build muscle memory for true flight sim training. Now, a little bit cheaper, you do have the Full Kit X. This gives you Xbox functionality, and honestly, the T16000 is a better product than the Full Kit X. However, you're paying for that Xbox functionality. That's the only reason why this is $200. This is $209, but usually $270. That Xbox stamp costs money, and that's why that's a little bit more expensive. This, I think, would be a real fun product to review, especially at $170. I would take the Sol R1 flight stick probably over any of the Logitech products. Given, though, you're not getting a dual throttle setup like you could on some of the others. And even if we scroll back up here, this is a single throttle. So there's some give and take here. Continuing down on the scrolling, you can buy the Boeing pieces separately. You can see their cheaper products here, or just piecing together one by one. Also, if you really just want something that's a little bit nicer, this looks nicer, but it's still basically a T16000, the TCA side stick Airbus edition. And then as we continue to scroll, you have some other options here if you're trying to have PS5, PS4 compatibility. And then the cheaper of the HOTAS setups, the $110 T.Flight Microsoft Flight Simulator Edition at $110. Not a bad overall product, but again, it's very entry level, it's very basic, and I wish it was just slightly cheaper. Going to page 2 to finish off the catalog dive here for Thrustmaster. We have the HOTAS Worn at $80, which is really not a bad price point if you absolutely have to have that Xbox functionality. You have the PC edition of the Airbus stick, which is not a terrible device, but again, it's basically the T16000 just rebranded, so keep that in mind. And at a $20, well, $10 difference now, it's up to you. Now, if you need spare parts or you want one of the other sides, the flight sticks that are cheaper, this is where they are in the full-on catalog. And there you go. That's the catalog dive for Thrustmaster. Moving on from Thrustmaster, let's go and talk about Turtle Beach. Turtle Beach, decent enough products. I do not like the Velocity Worn flight stick. It is not well balanced. It moves around way too much on the desk. So steer clear. However, if you have to have that Xbox functionality, which, let's see which ones are actually Xbox functional now. This is your only flight stick from Turtle Beach to do that. You do have the Flight Universal Control System, which is something to consider. However, it does get some pretty mixed reviews online. Let's just go back and look at the entire catalog again. Sorry about that. And I would love to review this product just because it's a little bit more square. It looks like it has a bit more heft to it and should sit better on your desk. But at $430, there are some other products we should really consider before you spend $430 on this. Unless you just want something that you could order from a big box store or Amazon and have an easier time returning than returning to a manufacturer store for a company that may not have a warehouse in the United States. So keep that in mind when purchasing some of your products. The Velocity One rudder pedals, if these were just a wee bit cheaper, they would be a huge consideration. You can adjust the toe brakes and the way these sit. So something else to keep in mind if you're building up a full-on sim setup. But maybe if these were on sale for $275, $250, great option. But if you're looking at the Charlie rudder pedals, you look at these as well. However, there are some other products to keep considering. So here's Turtle Beach. That's all I'm going to say about Turtle Beach. Virpil. Virpil controls, I've heard a lot of great things about, and I would love to review some of their products. I'm especially interested in the R1 Falcon rudder pedals for review purposes. However, in my recent review talking about the Charlie rudder pedals, I did compare them to these slightly. One thing to keep in mind, to me, I've instructed a lot of different people in a lot of different age groups. Safety is something of concern to me. So anything that's open, where you can get your fingers or feet or toes stuck in open gears, is something to keep in mind. I know the T.Flight, not T.Flight, but the Turtle Beach rudder pedals had some openings as well, but not as much as this. However, I heard these are great products. So starting from the top, you have some amazing setups for throttles, great grips to put on top of your bases here. However, this stuff adds up quick. So please keep that in mind when you are looking at this website and trying to piece something together. This is more advanced. This is not for this person starting off. But as you can see, Virpil offers a lot. They have a collective grip. They have the ability for you to build these products from the base up and then make yourself an amazing sim setup and quality products here. Let's go to page 2. Here we have more of the overall mounts, extensions. They have a lot of products. Damper upgrade for the R1 rudder pedals, $40. Extra pieces, flight stick extensions, rotor counterbalance kit. You know, this Virpil really has brought a lot of stuff to market to make their products more marketable and useful for the simming community. Heavy springs, things that really come together to give you a better overall experience. And that's it for Virpil. So Virpil is a definite option out there if you're looking for high grade quality flight sim controls. Like, I would really love to build the flanker grip with the Mongoose T base. That would be a lot of fun. I think that's something I really like to do. The base with the R-Warns, that would be a lot of fun for me, even though I'm just an airline pilot. So keep Virpil in mind if you are a more advanced user looking to build a really nice sim setup. Now, Winwing. Winwing, I've been working to get my hands on the Ursa Minors. However, I missed my chance to get them from Amazon. And yeah, they're getting things shipped here could be an issue depending on where you are in the world and the prices you're going to pay. But instead of doing the specials, we're just going to break it down via subject matter. So airline pilot, we have our joysticks. The Ursa Minor's pretty well reviewed product. Not super advanced, but really nice, especially good price point. Throttles, these are going to be very interesting. I would love to review the entire Airbus pack from Winwing, especially since I'm a captain on the Airbus A320 series of aircraft. These look like they'd be a lot of fun. However, they're still up for pre-ordering, so something to keep in mind if you're building a full-on setup. The Winwing Orion Metals with the damper, I would go with the damper edition. These look really cool. I'd love to review them, but again, keep in mind safety's sake. If you're using these with an instruction method or instruction purposes or a flight club or students, but if it's just you by yourself, these are pretty well reviewed. Different grip, can't get that anymore. Bases, that's still available, it looks like, for ordering. Accessories, different mounting pieces. Now let's take care of that and go into the panels. You have a Boeing panel and you have an Airbus panel. These are relatively well priced. Again, I would love to get my hands on these products and actually review them, give them my impressions about the feel, the click, and overall build quality. So we'll see what I can work out in the future. You can order these panels separately and build them up for what you need. Pretty cool that they got the FMSs, FMGCs, or McDoos, whatever you want to call them. So you have a lot of options from Winwing if you're building an overall sim setup that is mirroring a transport category aircraft like a Boeing or an Airbus. That's it for the airline panels. Now let's get into the combat flight controls. HOTAS. They've got some cool offerings. Again, pretty well reviewed products. They have a good following out there, and just do your research because there's some serious options out there that are competitive right now. So a large catalog here to work with if you're trying to build up something that is going to be combat based. Here are their throttles. Again, really nice looking throttles. Overall build quality I heard is very good. Rudder pedals, same rudder pedals again. Different grips to put on top of the throttles or the stick bases. Bases. All your base belong to us. Gemini Throttle Collective base, that would be fun to work with and review. And then overall bases as well all the way through. Accessories. Lots of accessories. Extension rod, adapters, a lot of customizability to give you a lot of functionality to basically give you what you want. You're paying for this modularity and capability to build a very specific sim setup. So keep Winwing in mind when you're building something that's more advanced. Combat panels. We've got our combos here. Top Gun MIP, Phoenix MIP, Navy Ace, Iceman. You got your MFD, Legend, Viper MIP VR. Buy these separately to piece them together however you wish, or to save money and try to buy them slowly as you save up the cash to get these. Accessories to go with those. Panel mounts. Panel mount time 3. That's it for the combo panels. Now space flight control. The Ursa Space HOTAS or HOSAS. Then the joysticks again. Rudder pedals. Same rudder pedals. And then all the accessories to work with these products. That is it for Winwing. I hope that was helpful because that was kind of quite a long dive. Now, VKB. I've reviewed the Gladiator. This is going to round out our overall catalog dive. VKB has some really nice products. You build them up yourself and really well reviewed. Again, these are similar to, I would say, Virpil, and I would say some of these products are better than their equivalents from, say, Thrustmaster. So give VKB a chance. Pricing wise, these are not bad prices when you're trying to build up something that's more substantial and combat oriented as well, especially. So decent enough products. Good reviews are already out there for these. Reddit, YouTube, and other places. There are a lot of people that have reviewed these and will tell you a lot more than I can. This is meant to be more of a catalog dive to help you figure out, if you're piecing all this stuff together, what are you going to end up with? But as you can see, VKB has pretty much everything you're looking for except for a TPM module, the throttle prop and mixture. Specifically, that's a push-pull. As you can see, these are almost all lever-based, or lever-based, depending on where you are in the world. You have the base only for the gunfighter. That's $223, and then you can buy the overall grips to go on top. You have different throttle systems to work with. Their rudder pedals are mainly for, say, helo use. And this catalog is pretty long. I'm not going to go through the entirety of the catalog because, I don't know, I did it for everybody else, so I should do it for VKB. They have a lot of products to offer and mounts to utilize. Specifically, I do have the Gladiator NXT Evo Space Combat Edition right-hand grip that I reviewed. I do like this product. I still use it, and it is my usual go-to for quick overall use when I'm getting into Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 or 2024 or X-Plane 12 to work on some either training with somebody or intro to aviation, or just building videos to talk about the sims themselves. More products here to work with, to set up your products with. Here's a cheaper Gladiator with the World War II Combat Edition, $109. Now, diving deeper into the catalog, you can see you buy all these grips and bases separately. Here's the Gladiator NXT Evo base at $60 all by itself. So you have the ability to put this together however you want. Upgrade kits. Now we get into the tiny pieces. Extension kit, wires, upgrade kit. They have a ton of stuff here to fine-tune the functionality of these devices. We'll keep on going, but I'm going to go just a wee bit faster so this video doesn't drag on too long like last year's did. More mounting brackets, more kit pieces, cables, covers, springs, and that's it. And that's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.